Hi friends, so I meant to share something the other day. It was on National Coming Out Day, coming out in quotes, and it was from Emma Lee, and she said, I guess today is National Coming Out Day. I'm happy to see gender stereotypes being shattered. For most of my life, I've never felt like I fit into society's box of what a girl or woman should be. The alternative was always tomboy, but that's not right either. I don't wear makeup, I've never cared to. I haven't a clue how to, quote, do, end quote, my hair. The reaction I got when I had no plans for my hair when I got married. I paint my nails like once a year, maybe. I've had one pedicure and one manicure. Because of a wedding and a boy did that whole experience with the other girls. Feels so weird. I haven't owned a purse since maybe high school, when I thought I was supposed to own a purse. That's when I thought I was supposed to do a lot of things, because what a girl was supposed to be was a very small specific box, at least from what I could tell. And it's just never been a box that I fit in. I tried, I failed, I felt uncomfortable, and I felt like maybe something was wrong with me. I like to get messy, I like to get my vehicle messy, I like to build things. I got a power drill for Christmas in college. I confused everyone in college when my favorite beer wasn't a girly one. I'm comfortable doing small work on my car, doing home repairs, lifting heavy things, or at least trying, and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't make me not a woman, but growing up I wish someone would have told me that. And also told me that someone with a tiny tight skirt, high heels, fancy hair, tons of makeup, painted nails, and also a purse can do all those things too. Please just be you. Be a human. Humans are absolutely stunning, breathtaking. I love them. No matter their shape, size, color, hair, sexuality, gender, or lack thereof. There's no right or wrong way to exist, even though some people cling to the false idea that there is. Maybe this makes me non-binary. I don't know. Personally, I just don't like to think about labels. Even the labels that exist somewhat in opposition to the labels I hated when I was a kid. But if you choose to label yourself, I will listen. So, just letting you all know that I'm me, and I think putting people in tiny boxes is stupid, and I want you to be you. In whatever way you want to be you. Life is short and you're amazing, and the English language is pretty lame. I dream for a day when everyone feels comfortable in their own skin. As someone who has so often felt uncomfortable in their own skin, I know how incredibly important and necessary it is. I enjoyed reading everyone's post about who they really are while driving back from Michigan today. So that's Emma Lee, and she's she's sort of like a journalist, photographer slash videographer. She does a lot of videos of the various marches, the Black Lives Matter protests, etc. And when I read that, I just thought that's sort of a bit of an modern day version of how I felt all my life. Having had most of my life relationships with women, there's been a lot of, I've been in the 80s, there was a lot of homophobia in the 70s when I was at school, and I didn't fit into that box. I didn't fit into the heteronormative box. I didn't fit in with how girls were supposed to present themselves. At times I've had to try and do that, depending on what work I was doing, or if I was trying to please my mother, but I was always trying to please somebody, and eventually I realized I couldn't really please anybody, and it was better if I just was myself. So there was a short-lived period where I was trying to please people or fit into something, and then I just thought, no, I can't do that. So there was a while, even a few years ago, where my mother is quite old. I was adopted, and she's like about 2 generations older than me. And I was trying to keep my hair longer so that when I went up and visited her, she would feel a bit better about my hair. And then after a while, I sort of thought, what am I doing? This went on for a few years, and then I thought, what am I doing? I mean, my mother, she's so old now, she probably wouldn't even really pay that much attention. So I just thought, and then the COVID thing happened, and I just... my partner and I made a bit of a mess of our hair, and I just thought, okay, just take it all off. But why should I even be worried about that? Why should I even worry about hair is hair? It's just hair that comes out of your head, really. And who cares what people think, particularly at my age, anyway. But the whole, how women dress, how they don't dress, all the sort of the transphobia that's around as well, that's really unfortunate. And being an ally of trans people, I see what some trans people have to do to be passable in this society. And I think what a shame that they even have to try to be passable and to present like a woman. I mean, all those kind of things. Why we put these very, very heavy-duty constructed stereotypes onto each other so that a certain group can feel comfortable or whatever, or for our own safety or whatever. It's funny how, when you're younger and you're trying to fit in, and that can be very difficult because we don't really know who we are. And so you try and fit into what the ideas of women is, what the ideas of how women dress and how they walk and what they say and how they sound and what you're not supposed to say and all that kind of thing. And I'm talking now about quite a few decades ago. It's probably different in some ways, but then it's not so different either. I still see young women still trying to keep up to even more stringent stereotypes, with ridiculous body shapes, ridiculous ideas of what is the size that women should be, and it's not healthy mentally, or it's not healthy psychologically to be having to chase these stereotypes of what the sizes that women should be, body sizes, all the body shaming. Speaking of body shaming, Celeste Barber, who's a comedian, she does these little parodies of or sort of send-ups. She's not sending up the person who's taking the photo of themselves, but she's not some sort of skinny woman, if you can put it like that. And she'll take she'll take photos of models on Instagram, and then she'll emulate those photos in a kind of a funny way. And she did one the other day, which was her. This woman was basically naked, but had her hands over her nipples and her leg up, so you couldn't see her genitals or whatever. And so Celeste Barber was emulating that, and had a kind of a funny look on her face. And apparently Instagram blocked her, but did not block the woman that she was emulating, who was very, very thin. And so she sort of complained about it. But that sort of shows how Instagram is actually deciding what is acceptable, meaning that skinny young woman, very, very slim young woman, and what is not acceptable, Celeste Barber, an older woman who is not really skinny. And I mean, it's just amazing. It sort of never ends. You would think that things would progress in that regard, but it doesn't. And speaking of, I was surprised in a way to read this thing from Emily, because I think she's actually about, I'm guessing, I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's possibly late 20s, early 30s, and I'm like twice her age. And I thought things would have improved in some ways about, but it hasn't in many ways, because if she's still feeling this pressure to be a certain way, to be a certain type of woman, if she's sort of struggling to, or is having difficulty being a certain kind of woman, or what women are supposed to be, that sort of tells me that things haven't really moved a whole lot. And yet in some ways they have, because, non-binary people and trans people are sort of, gender diversity has become a lot more acceptable. But then at the same time, there's a big pushback against that. And wouldn't it be nice if we could just all be how we wanted to be? That there wasn't this pressure to fit into some kind of stereotype so we can feel safe or comfortable? I mean, I don't know. I find it odd at this late stage in our species, where we're staring extinction in the face. You would think we could just let go of some of this rubbish, but it actually seems to be the pushback against gender diversity and presenting yourself as outside of these stereotypes seems to be so threatening to some people, to the point where they, the pushback is so ferocious and misogynist. It often, I just find that just so, I don't know, sad, because wouldn't it be great if, like, little boys could just, wouldn't it be great if we could all, just children could just be however they wanted to be when they were born into this life, just present themselves however they want to present themselves, have characteristics of whatever they feel. whether it's being sensitive or whatever. You know, instead of trying to kick the sensitivity out of young men and that kind of thing, wouldn't it be great if we could just allow children to present themselves however they want to present themselves and let that go on, and allow them to exhibit attributes of a human rather than men and women, that kind of thing. These so-called masculine traits or feminine traits, which I find, I really loathe that, all that kind of stuff. I think we're human and we have human traits, and children should be allowed to just be. And that should not stop at a certain age. Children should be allowed to just be, and just continue on in that way. And if we stopped trying to enforce these restrictive binary stereotypes and ways of being, and just allow for people to be human, wouldn't that make the world just so much more interesting place with a lot more happier humans on it?